Hey guys, welcome back to House of Organic Beauty. So I will be moisturizing my hair with my tea. I'll be talking about my recent loss. Okay, I'm still healing from losing my daughter. I realized that I need to talk about it because a lot of people need that encouragement when losing a child, a loved one, whatever it may be, a life in general, and also spreading the awareness. It's good too, you know, because a lot of people think they're alone out there and you're not. So this is gonna be like a mini story time. But before we get started, I am going to read our verse for today. Okay, and put my hair up because I don't like wet hair on my skin. Sorry guys, I just choose to do this right now. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up. It is still cute. It's been like 5 weeks now. And I think it's still holding on, you know? Okay. Just a loose ponytail for now. The verse of the day is, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29 verse 11. This verse, it's quite interesting, and it's a coincidence because the story I'm going to tell you guys, it's, you know, it's an unfortunate situation that did happen with our family, and this verse kind of reassure us, like, you know, things happen for a reason and God will continue to have a plan for us no matter what. So when tragedy hits, God will continue to be there, and yet again, things happen for a reason. So let's get into this story time, honey. I was definitely not forced to tell my story, but like I said, I wanted to kind of spread awareness to this topic, okay, and this condition. All right, I'll be looking down because I did write down notes, so I won't miss any important details that I would like to share with you guys. So I am going to like kind of go back to, I believe, 2016. As you all know, I have 3 kids. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. I had my first daughter in 2009. I had my second daughter in 2012. Yeah, in 2012. So it took about 2 years for me to conceive my second daughter. And when she was turning 2, we wanted to conceive again. So I didn't think I had issues with conceiving because I had my 2 previous kids, but it took us a little while to conceive. We didn't, well, did we see a doctor? I'm not sure if we went to go see a doctor to see why it was taking us so long to conceive. We weren't preventing, but we weren't trying. We started trying when my second daughter was like about 2-ish, 2.5. When we moved to Pensacola, we started really trying, and this was in 2015. Yeah, 2015. She was about like 2.5, 3 years old. So we started trying, no luck. He wanted his little boy, you know, I was praying on it. Started trying, kept trying, no luck. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I can't conceive. And I think the issue was just the stress mentally and physically. Maybe my body was under stress, and because I was stressing, the fact that I really wanted to conceive was stressing me out, so I couldn't conceive. And that's the whole issue too. Like, when you want to conceive and you are stressing out and just buying just pregnancy tests after pregnancy tests and just doing all of that, it's going to stress you out and it'll prevent you from getting pregnant, okay? Because them hormones, they're for real. So fast forward to 2016. I think, no, not 2016. Was it 2016? Yeah, it was 2016. We finally got pregnant after like 5 years of trying. I think 5 years of trying. Finally got pregnant. And then, of course, we were excited. We were like over the moon. Around that time when I did conceive, I had kind of stopped worrying about like checking my ovulation or taking pregnancy tests every like maybe 5 times a week. Like it was insane. It was very obsessive. So I ended up like going to the store, getting a card, and then surprising the kids and my husband with a card and stuff like that, letting them know I'm pregnant. Everybody, of course, was excited. I was excited. Ended up telling my sister-in-law, and I don't remember telling a lot of people about that pregnancy. Now we're driving back home. A few weeks passed. I got up one night to go check on my daughters. I always do that. Like I always get up in the middle of the night to check on them. And I went in their room, and when I was leaving the room, when I tried to leave the room, I felt this sharp stabbing pain in my stomach. It hurt so bad that I should have went to the hospital, but I did not. And around this time, I was like about 6 weeks. Should have went to the hospital, but I didn't because I had no insurance or not any of that. So I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital in the middle of the night and it's nothing, you know, but I did have that instant like, okay, girl, you should go. Nope, I didn't. So I slept it off. Next day, I think the next day was normal. I really don't remember, but there was this one day I was doing hair. I was on my friend's hair, and then I was done with her hair. She was getting ready to leave. I needed to use the bathroom. Ran and used the bathroom. When I wiped, I saw nothing but blood. And I was like, when I saw I was shaking up, I was like, what? Are you serious? And that was my worst fear. And it's crazy because with that pregnancy, I would pray and be like, Lord, I don't want to wipe and I see blood. But long and behold, I wiped and I saw blood. I was crushed. So I ran downstairs to go get my friend and asked her to watch the girls. So she took the girls for me, thank you. And I went straight to the hospital, called my husband, and he met me at the hospital. Doctors drew blood on me and we waited. They were asking me questions, talking about, are you in pain? And I was like, no, I'm not in pain. I'm just, you know, blood just coming out. Well, no, at that time, blood wasn't even coming out that much. It was just that one time and then a little bit afterwards, but I still had like a pad on, whatever. So waiting in the waiting room, they're doing tests on me, and then finally went in the room. They did an ultrasound and they told me that, oh, we don't see a baby. And I'm like, but I am pregnant, and the blood work did show I was pregnant too, but the levels were kind of not where it was supposed to be. So I was like, okay. So in their mind, they didn't really tell me like, okay, you're about to miscarry or whatever. They were just kind of like, okay, maybe it's not a miscarriage because she's not in pain and there's not a lot of blood or whatever. So the doctor just ended up telling me like, okay, go see your OBGYN. If you don't see anything that's going on tonight, then just go see your OBGYN the next day, blah, blah. So I went home that night, and unfortunately the worst happened. I just started bleeding out like crazy. Blood clots, tissue, just all of that stuff was coming out, and it was pretty tough. Fast forward, you know, it emotion wise, like I was up and down. With Jeffrey, I would get upset with him because he wasn't home, and mind you, he stayed home for like, I think that first if it wasn't a few days, it was like a week. He stayed home with me, and then we were just like consoling each other. But when you did go back to work, I hated it. I was like, but when he was home, I didn't give him no time of the day. Child, the hormones was just all over the place. So I conceived in like this baby. I conceived in May. The following year, I conceived again in June. Okay. And you know, my baby boy, we had our baby boy. Man, that pregnancy was very nerve-wracking because boy, I prayed like crazy, and every time I wiped, I was like, I didn't see no blood. I was like, thank you, Lord, thank you, Lord. You know, these things get you paranoid. Had a healthy baby boy in 2018, and then in 2019 we conceived again in June again. Okay, so that's 3 times we conceived around May or June, and they all was gonna be born. Well, the first one I lost was gonna be born in January, and Aiden, which is my son, and my daughter that I'm about to talk about, they were gonna be born in February. So Beam got pregnant again 2019, and that was a shock because we weren't preventing. So I don't know why it was a shock. We weren't preventing, but we weren't trying. We were kind of being careful, but we weren't preventing. But I remember there were 2 times when I was ovulating and you know, things happened. I had a feeling that I was going to get pregnant. I just had that feeling that I was going to get pregnant, and yes, my period didn't show up, and I wasn't even tracking or anything, but I knew I missed my period. My body was feeling funny, and I was like, maybe I'm pregnant. So enjoying the pregnancy, everybody's excited. I was shocked. Jeffrey, you could tell he was excited. Like, this was the first pregnancy I told him, and he was like he showed emotion, like, okay, oh, another pregnancy, okay. I bet in his mind he's like, oh yeah, I did that, you know men. So went to like this free clinic, and they did the ultrasound, and they told me how many weeks I was. At the time, I think I was like 8-9 weeks, because that specific clinic, they like do volunteer work. So if something is wrong with the baby, I don't even think that they're supposed to let you know. They just advise you to go see an OBGYN immediately and stuff. But anyways, I ended up finding an OBGYN. She had delivered my son, so that's why, she delivered my son. That's why I went back to her for my daughter. She was decent, so I was like, okay, I could go to her. And I didn't want to keep changing doctors because all of my kids had different doctors. But so I'm trying to remember. So she's checking, you know, you go to your appointments as usual. She did ultrasounds, she checked everything. In her mind, everything was good. She didn't tell me anything. I think around that time, like when I went back to have her be my OBGYN at that time for my daughter, they were telling us that we needed to find another doctor because she would be leaving on vacation or something like that. So I wouldn't be able to, she'll still do my OBG care, but she wouldn't be able to deliver my baby. So she wanted me to find another doctor to take over my, you know, OBG care or whatever, or OBGYN care. Y'all know what I mean. I'm like, okay, we're in the process of looking for another doctor to deliver our baby at the time. And we didn't think anything of it. We didn't ask questions. Well, I did ask questions. When I was at one of my appointments, I did ask her like, oh, is everything okay? And she was like, oh yeah, I have to leave for family emergencies and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, didn't think anything of it. So finally found a doctor before I was 20 weeks, which was like, what, 5 months for 5 months. Yeah, 5 months pregnant. So that the 5 months is when you have the anatomy scan, I believe it's called, where they check the fluids, they check the measurement of the baby. It's like an extensive ultrasound. Like, so the first time I went into my new doctor's office was the day I was supposed to do my anatomy scan, checking the baby to see if everything's okay. So my husband came, of course my kids came, because at the time they were being homeschooled. We were excited, we was waiting. the way it goes is you go into the ultrasound room, they do their thing with the advanced ultrasound machine, and then you go into another room and have the doctor talk to you to see if everything's okay or whatever. If everything's okay, then it shouldn't be long. So I was in the ultrasound room by myself. It took longer than usual, but I'm like, okay, whatever. So she's just checking and checking. She's very quiet. She's checking my stomach, and you know, I didn't think anything of it. Just checking and checking, and it, like I said, it took a little while. Finally went inside the room. Doctor took a little while. At that time, I didn't think anything of it, but looking back, they were like discussing stuff like, how should I say this, you know, to the family. So she came in the room and she kept asking me questions. She was like, do you have any other ultrasounds? And I'm like, no. Oh, do you have diabetes in your family? I'm like, why is she asking me this? No. I'm like, oh, you're not obese, so And I'm like, bruh, spill the beans, let me know, what's up? Like, what's up? Let me know, okay? Like, you keep asking me questions, like, tell me. So she's like, you could tell she didn't want to say it, but unfortunately, you know, in her profession, you have to, you know. She was like, unfortunately, your daughter has this rare disease called anencephaly, where the neural tube didn't connect, you know, blah, 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 she's missing, blah, blah, blah. The way she explained it, I already knew what it was, because when I was pregnant with my son the previous year, randomly a YouTube feed came up. It just popped up with that same disease that my daughter had. So I knew what she was talking about. I just didn't know the name. So we all broke down. So as soon as she said your daughter's not gonna make it past birth, or she's going to make it but she's not going to make it out the hospital, bruh, everybody, I was quiet. The girls cried. Like, as soon as she said she's not gonna make it, they bust out crying. I had my son in my hand and I kind of like put him on the floor, and then my husband had to take him. My husband was like, you could see his face was just melting, like, are you serious? Like somebody done took your life type stuff. And I was just so weak and dumbfounded, shocked. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I was speechless. So the doctors delivered the news. Everybody's emotional. Doctor's not trying to cry, but eventually she ended up crying. So she was like, how did your previous doctor not see this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So appointment is over. I had to go next door to see, it's like not a genetic specialist, but she does something dealing with like the financial part. I don't know what she was, but she ended up asking me like, how did your doctor not know? And she asked me who my doctor was, and she was like, And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why are you making that face? Like, is she a back doctor? So I was like, what happened? She was like, well, that doctor is kind of known to be very negligent or whatever. Like, no, not even negligent. She was just saying how that doctor, she's very like nonchalant, and she's very like, I don't know, she's just very grimy. So she ended up calling the doctor, my previous doctor's office, to ask them like what happened, you know, ask some questions. And then she wanted, leave the shoes alone. So she wanted me to get like an immediate appointment, like next day appointment, just so I can talk to my previous doctor to ask her like what's up? Like, how did you not see this? Okay, so the next day we went to my previous doctor, and she opened the door, and she was just like very nonchalant. It was like, hey, how are you? Just, she had no intonation. She was just very bland and just like not apologetic, very like, I don't even know. She annoyed the crap out of me though. So she was like, oh, let's see, let's take the ultrasound. Bruh. So did the ultrasound. She's like, oh, right, the baby doesn't have a head. I was like, is this lady serious? And my husband was right next to me, okay? The kids were at a family member's house at the time, I believe. They weren't with us. I remember them not being with us. I don't know where they were. I'm not gonna lie to you. But they were with family, of course. They were safe. And so I was like, okay. My husband, he was shaking. Like when he's nervous, he shakes. Or when he's like pissed off, he shakes. And I try not to like slap a chick. You feel me? I'm just playing. But no, like I try to do my best to like not flip or whatever, because I'm slowly tempered, so it takes a lot to tick me off, and it takes a lot for me to react. I have to process it first and then I react later. So she was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, is there anything that we can do? Is this disease reversible? She was like, well, unfortunately, no, it's not reversible. We can take out the baby. And in my mind, I'm like, you talking about we? You're not touching me anymore, lady. Like, because I guess at that time, that's when she was allowed to still work again or whatever. And I was like, you're not touching me, lady. In my mind, I was like, you're not touching me. Come to find out, she was involved in a lawsuit. That's why she couldn't do any surgeries on no patients, because somebody was suing her behind. So yeah, so my baby girl, she was born with this condition called anencephaly. Okay, and I'm gonna read it to you to let you guys know what it is. So anencephaly is a baby born with an underdeveloped brain and an incomplete skull. So right here was, she had eyes, she had everything, she had a forehead, but it just stopped right here. So all of this was exposed. She had no neck. So all of this was exposed. So her brain was exposed, okay? It's a defect in the formation of a baby's neural tube during development. So my baby only missed one step. You know, there's stages to developing babies or fetuses. She missed one stage, and like she just missed one stage. That's crazy. Baby was still moving in my belly. The baby was still moving. Because I was like so far along, I couldn't like take a pill and then that was it and then just let nature do its course. I would have had to like do surgery again. Okay. So I was like, there's nothing that you guys can do. Like, this is not reversible. I just kept asking, like low-key begging. And then Health Fresh Behind said, not even God can save her. Listen, how could you say that to a grieving person? You don't believe in God? That's your business. But the fact that she said that, that's another story. Even thinking about it just pissed me off and I want to drive over there, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let it go for sure, because it's been this long. It's one thing about me, you don't try God like that, okay? You may not believe, that's your business, but listen, don't try God. Like, you could try me, but don't try God. That's how I feel. So we just left, and I had the feeling to leave because Jeffrey, his shaking became more intense and I felt the heat. So I was like, okay, babe, let's go. So we left, and of course we're just very sad, very emotional about it, just all over the place emotionally. End up telling our people, like, they were confused. They haven't heard of that disease, and this disease occurs in 1 out of 100,000 pregnancies. Not 100,000, 10,000, I think. It's becoming more and more common now, although it is rare, but it is becoming more and more common. There's a lot of cephalies. My daughter, she had anencephaly, but there's a lot of different form of cephalies. Before we found out, we were in the process of moving. Our kids were homeschooled and then dealing with a toddler, okay? So around that time it was very, very stressful. But when we finally got to the house and now, this was around October 2019. From then on, everything went downhill. As a stay-at-home mom that homeschools your kids, I was already like overwhelmed and stressed, pregnant, and dealing with a toddler. I was overwhelmed. And to add that your baby is not going to make it was even worse. I was depressed. The kids ended up having to go to school go back to school because I couldn't take it anymore, because at the time they were doing virtual school and the work was intense. So I ended up taking them back to school because they were stressing out due to them knowing that their sister's not gonna make it and their mom is sad. You know, you can see it, you can tell, like I was drained, I was sad. Each and every day was a struggle. My husband and I didn't really see eye to eye when it came to the decision making on whether or not we wanted to get rid of her before birth. We don't want, it's like he felt like we should have, you know, let her go around the time we found out. But I was like, man, she's in my body, and I felt like I didn't want to intentionally kill her. If she died in my belly, then okay, but I didn't want that responsibility of me taking her life. I want her to pass away on her own. So I decided to just let her live in my belly. She was kicking like normal babies, everything, still had all my cravings, still had everything, okay, like a normal pregnancy. And it kind of played a big toll on my marriage because we weren't seeing eye to eye. And that's how things are. Like when tragic hits, the enemy is just there to make things worse, okay, basically. Fast forward, I wanted to go full term, okay? You know, going through all of this, I did have prayer warriors. I did have people like, listen, like when I say praying for me, people that all over just praying, church members, everybody just praying, people helping me out. My friends taking the kids when I just couldn't deal with the kids. They took them, and you know, for like a few days and stuff like that. And I was very grateful and thankful for that. I was fighting. When I say I was fighting, I had all types of dreams. There was this one particular dream that I did remember, and this was around the time I was going to give, like I was close to term. I think I was at my mom's house. This isn't a dream. I was at my mom's house. I had my kids with me, and then this lady that was outside, it was nighttime, this lady was outside screaming her head off. Was I at my mom? No, this was another dream. I had a whole lot of dreams. Okay, so I was outside with my kids. I was pregnant too, right? And this lady kept staring at me, and I'm like evil stare, like she wanted to harm me. She kept staring. I'm looking like who's she staring at or whatever, and she's cursing me out. Somebody that was next to her tried to calm her down. She's cussing me out. She's getting even more outraged and just more like she's just off the chain. I was like, who is this lady? Like, what is wrong with this lady? My camera died, of course. But yeah, so the man was holding the lady back, and she started to throw rocks at me. And mind you, I have my kids there. She was aiming for the children, okay? Listen, I went on mommy mode, and I went on Hulk mode, and I was picking up rocks. I was running straight at her, picking up rocks, threw it at her, and each rock I threw, it hit her dead on her face. Threw it at her, running towards her, and while I'm picking up rocks, I'm running towards her and I'm throwing it at her. And I reached her and I beat the crap out of her. And one thing about dreams, guys, is some of these dreams, they are meaningful. Like that specific dream, I knew I was fighting for my life and fighting for the kids. And a lot of people had similar dreams where they had to fight for me, okay? And dreams are crazy, okay? There's certain dreams that, okay, God is trying to tell you something, honey, okay? And there's certain dreams that it's just like, you know, but it's certain dreams that, listen, you have to pay attention to. So in that dream, I was fighting for my life, just like all the other dreams, okay? And fast forward, we ended up having the baby on January 22nd, 2020. At that time, I think I was 37 weeks. She came out beautiful as ever. She was 4 pounds. Her original date was supposed to be February the 4th. So I claimed that date, okay? We saw her condition, and it was very it was hurtful. It was very emotional. I was still in shock. And my husband, when he saw her, he screamed out the F word, he was like, F. And I was like, that's when I realized that, man, he's in pain. And because usually my husband, he just hold things in and he doesn't express too much in front of me. So when he said that, I was like, dang, he's hurting right now, like really bad or whatever. Saw her. I wanted him to like record because I wanted the last moments to be captured. So if you want to hear my husband's reaction and his side of the story, then check out his page. He has a YouTube page as well. He has 2 channels, but his podcast, it's called Just Talking with Jeffrey. I'll put it on the page. Check that out and you'll see his reaction. Okay, so go check it out. But so when he was talking on his podcast, when we was doing the little small story time on his podcast, I didn't know that he was frustrated the fact that I was telling him or asking him to record our daughter or whatever. And I felt bad because I didn't even think about that. Like, okay, the guy don't want to record at the time because it's like a whatever. But I'm happy he did record because those memories will stay. When she came out, she was lifeless. She was still breathing. Her eyes were open for a little bit. If I can, I'll post pictures, but I don't want to show you guys too much detail. I don't know. I'm not ready for that, but I will blur out the face or whatever, but I don't know. We'll see. I will show you guys something just to give you a visual. At the end of the video, I'll show you guys everything. She wasn't moving, wasn't crying. It was dead silent in the operating room. Dead silent. They were cleaning her up and wrapped her up. I gave her a kiss. Yeah.
Just an evil.
The evil one?
Yes.
No, he has to be nice. Okay? I cleaned her up, wrapped her up. I was still on the operating table, so I gave her a kiss. Jeffrey ended up holding her. I don't know if I fell asleep, but no, I didn't fall asleep. They ended up wheeling me into our other room. That's when I saw like my friends and stuff, the pastor and my parents, which was sad. Everybody was just looking like you could tell everybody wanted to see. Doctor every 2 minutes was checking her heartbeat. She was still breathing, but her heartbeat was fading away. So 33 minutes exactly, she passed away in my husband's arms. And it was tough. Once the doctor said, okay guys, she's sleeping, she's gone, I broke down. Everybody broke down. And the crazy thing is my husband just, oh my goodness, I don't really see him cry. Okay, I'm back. So I don't really see him cry like that. So he started crying like crazy. My mom started crying. Of course, I started crying. But, you know, I cried just to feel better. Okay, I'm back. Hold on, wait. I'm good. Okay, so, hold on, no booger. So yeah, I cried to feel better. So I'm feeling a little better. Okay, so my two friends ended up helping us with the footprint. Jeffrey had to hold her, and that was tough too. The hospital had ended up giving her like this beautiful dress that was kind of beaded. It was very pretty. They ended up giving me like a box that had like purple butterflies on it. So every time when you see a purple butterfly, that you know, it goes out to her, kind of representing my daughter. Her name was Malia Grace. okay? So doing the footprints, everybody's, you know, getting emotional. My mom was just like, she couldn't believe it, because I mean, no one, like, she's like, but okay, you hear babies passing away, but the disease that she had, like, the fact that her head didn't grow in was just baffling to her. Like, she couldn't understand it. So she was just like missing me, back on point. But like, she was just out of there. My mother-in-law, she was silent for like weeks, because she loved her grandkids. So everybody, a lot of people, you know, visited us at the hospital. My best friend came in and was like, she didn't even want to look at the baby. She just broke down crying. She's like, I'm sorry, Joanna. She just looked at me, because she knows, like, I love kids, and she knew that it was a tough time for me. Fast forward, we ended up, you know, doing a small ceremony for her, and oh my goodness, it was so beautiful. So we ended up having a funeral on a weekday. It was on a Thursday, because we knew if we had it on a Sunday, everybody and their mom was gonna be there, and I wanted to be short and sweet. We ended up like doing a little small service at the burial site, but they did have like a viewing area inside the funeral home, a beautiful viewing area where you can go in and view the baby. Me and my husband and my little brother and my sister-in-law, his wife, were the only ones that saw the baby. No one else really didn't want to, because, you know, they wanted it to be, I don't know why, but they just didn't really want to. After that, you know, it was still tough when it came to my marriage, and just when it came, honestly, I was very angry, bitter. I'm still not fully healed. I mean, I don't think I will ever be fully healed, but I am at peace with it. My husband's at peace, and my oldest daughter still writes to her. I'm still like annoyed the fact that the enemy just keeps trying people. Like, it's just annoying, but this is the world we live in. And what I did get annoyed with, now thinking about it, was people saying, you know, when you lose somebody, or a child especially, you don't know what to say. But a lot of people kept telling me, oh, well, at least you have two. And that's the worst thing that you can ever tell a grieving mother, okay? That's a life. So it's not like at least I have two. So if my oldest daughter would pass away, you're gonna tell me, well, at least you have the two youngest ones. Like, you don't tell people that. You don't tell people that at least you have two. You don't say that. Or at least you have kids. Like, bruh, you don't say that. Okay? It's not cool. So I get what they mean, but I don't know. It was just very insensitive to me. Like, bruh, I don't care. I want them all, obviously. Like, you don't have kids for them to just die, you know? But whatever. To each your own, right? Yeah. We got much love from everybody, our church members, our family, our friends. So much support, so much love. I wanted to do this video to kind of spread awareness, and to kind of let you guys know, whoever are going through a loss in general, whether it be a baby, whether it be a kid, whether it be an adult, whatever, death is death, and it doesn't feel good. And so I wanted to do this video to just spread awareness that these diseases, they exist. The fact that miscarriages and birth defects are becoming more and more common, it's very scary, but it is what it is. Whoever is going through a loss, I will pray for you, and you're not alone. And I pray for peace and for comfort and for hope and for healing, most definitely. And if we would have known about this disease sooner in our pregnancy, I don't know whether or not we would have made the decision to abort her. I don't know. And unfortunately, we cannot have kids anymore because we decided to get a fimbriectomy done, and that's almost a for sure thing, a sterile procedure where I know I probably won't have kids. It would be a miracle if I have kids. It's like very, very slim to none that I will be able to have kids, and it's unfortunate, but I'm content with that because I honestly did not want to get cut again. Like that is tough, and I'm still dealing with aftermath of having so many C-sections, and that's another story. Okay, of how many C-sections I actually had. Make sure if you do get pregnant, get multiple opinions. Don't just stick to one doctor. Please go to several doctors, like maybe 2 or 3, just to get multiple opinions on the health of your baby, the health of your body in general. There's some that are very negligent, and there's some that really knows and cares about their job. So I am going to end this video here. I hope you guys I hope you guys enjoyed this small story time. It was very tough for me to, you know, be open about this, but I know when you're open about certain tragedy that's in your life or that happened, more healing would come. Okay, I am content. We are content. Of course, you have your days, of course, like what ifs and stuff, but it is what it is. I will see her again, God willing. That's what I'm trying to do right now, so I can see her again. I would like to end this off with a prayer, if you don't mind. So yes, dear God, I want to thank you for allowing me to share my story. You convinced me to share so that others may be aware and to be comforted, Lord, to know that they are not alone. Please, Lord, heal our broken hearts. Give us strength. Those who lost their loved ones, help them to find hope and peace in you, Lord. I pray for understanding, and I know that joy will come in the morning. Help us to not give up on you. In Jesus' name I do pray. Amen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, be blessed.